Have you ever wished you knew the psychological truths that could shield your heart so deeply you'd never be broken by love again? What if healing and protection weren't just possible but within your reach, starting today? In this video, you'll discover the powerful shifts that turn heartbreak into inner strength and emotional safety. Stay with me until the very end to get every insight. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next step in your journey. It's not bad luck. It's not some invisible curse hanging over your love life. The truth is, patterns repeat themselves until you become aware enough to break the cycle. Think about it. How many times have you found yourself drawn to the same type of partner, even though you swore the last one would be the last? That pull isn't random. It's your mind chasing something it recognizes, even if what it recognizes has always hurt you. Most women don't realize they've been trained often since childhood to confuse intensity with love. Maybe your first experiences of affection came with conditions, or you had to work hard for scraps of approval. That sets the stage for accepting emotional unavailability as normal. You don't notice it at first, because your heart is drawn to the familiar, not necessarily the healthy. It's like craving a food you know upsets your stomach, but still ordering it because it feels like comfort. Here's the tricky part. Your mind doesn't just repeat these patterns, it defends them. It will tell you stories like, "This time it's different," or "He just needs more understanding." Those aren't instincts, they're old scripts. Scripts you didn't write, but you keep performing. Healing starts the moment you pause and ask, is this love or is this just a rerun? That single question can be the doorway to real emotional safety. One way to spot the pattern is to track the emotional timeline of your relationships. How quickly do you get attached? When do the red flags appear? And be honest, do you ignore them? This is like being your own detective, but instead of solving crimes, you're protecting your heart. Keep a private journal and list how each relationship began, when it started feeling unstable, and how it ended. Patterns don't hide well when they're written in black and white. Breaking the cycle isn't about avoiding people, it's about redefining what love means to you. Ask yourself, do I feel peace in this connection, or am I just addicted to the highs and lows? Real love brings calm to your nervous system. If your romance feels like constant adrenaline, you're not in love, you're in survival mode, and survival mode is the opposite of self-love, inner strength, and protection. You might be thinking, but what if this is just how I am? It's not who you are, it's who you've been taught to be. And the beauty of the human mind is that it can learn new ways of being. That's what emotional boundaries are for. They aren't there to block love, they're there to filter it, so only the kind that truly nourishes you gets through. Once you start seeing these hidden patterns, it's impossible to unsee them. And that's both liberating and a little unsettling because, now, the choice is yours. Will you keep living in the familiar pain, or will you step into something unfamiliar, but healing? The next step will make that choice a lot easier. Most women hear the word boundaries and picture shutting people out, building walls, or becoming cold. But boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. Think of them like the front door of your home. You don't lock it because you hate visitors. You lock it because you want to choose who comes in, when, and under what conditions. Emotional boundaries work the same way. They protect your peace without blocking healthy love. The fear is real. If you set boundaries, you'll lose people. And you will, but only the ones who are benefiting from you having none. The truth is, anyone who's genuinely capable of healthy love will respect your boundaries. They'll see them not as rejection, but as a sign of self-respect and emotional safety. That's why boundaries aren't just for keeping the wrong people out there, also for attracting the right ones in. If you've been through heartbreak, your instincts might push you toward extremes, either giving too much of yourself too soon, or building walls so high no one can reach you. Boundaries are the middle ground. They're flexible. They adjust based on trust, consistency, and how safe you feel. And they allow you to be open without being unprotected, to love without losing yourself. One of the simplest ways to start is by practicing micro boundaries. These are small, daily actions that train you to speak up for yourself before resentment builds. Saying, "I can't talk right now, but let's connect later," is a micro boundary. Declining an invite when you're emotionally drained is a micro boundary. The more you honor them, the more your self-worth grows, and self-worth is magnetic. Boundaries also protect you from self-betrayal. Think about the last time you said yes when you wanted to say no. That tiny moment chips away at your inner strength. Over time, those small compromises become a habit of putting everyone else above yourself. But when you start honoring your needs, you stop living in reaction to others and You start living in alignment with yourself. There's a hidden gift in boundaries. They reveal people's true intentions quickly. Someone who respects them is someone who's likely to bring peace into your life. Someone who resists or punishes you for them is waving a red flag you can't afford to ignore. This saves you months or even years of investing in the wrong connection. And here's the best part: when you start feeling safe within your own limits, you realize you don't need to fear love anymore. You can let it in, knowing you have the tools to protect yourself. That's when something powerful happens. Your worth stops depending on who stays or who leaves. When your sense of worth is tied to how others treat you, you give away the keys to your own happiness. Every compliment becomes a high, every rejection a crash. But self-worth that's built from the inside, that's unshakable. It's like having emotional armor. You can still feel, but you're not destroyed every time someone disappoints you. And in love, that's not just helpful, it's essential for real healing. Many women don't realize they've been trained to prove their worth through giving time, giving patience, giving chances. But here's the truth. Love isn't a transaction. You don't earn it by overextending yourself. You are worthy by default, simply by existing. When you understand that, your standards change. You stop settling for relationships that drain your emotional safety just to avoid being alone. Reclaiming self-worth starts with keeping the promises you make to yourself. That might mean following through on your morning walk, sticking to your budget, or finally starting the class you've been postponing. Every time you honor your word, you send a message to yourself: I matter. Over time, this builds inner strength that no heartbreak can take away. Think of self-worth like a bank account. Every act of self-love is a deposit. Every time you accept less than you deserve, you make a withdrawal. If you keep your account full, you won't panic when someone walks away, because you're not relying on them to keep you emotionally afloat. This is how resilience is built, not in the big dramatic moments, but in the quiet, daily choices. A helpful exercise is to write down 3 non-negotiables for your relationships. These aren't about superficial preferences. They're about emotional needs. For example, I need consistency, I need open communication, or I need respect for my boundaries. Once you define them, you stop wasting time on people who can't meet them. That's not arrogance, it's self-protection. Here's the paradox. When you stop chasing validation, you start attracting people who naturally give it. They sense your confidence, your grounded energy, your calm. Self-worth doesn't just protect you, it draws in love that feels safe, because you're no longer willing to tolerate anything else. And once your worth is no longer up for negotiation, something shifts. You realize you can love deeply without needing someone to complete you. That's when you can truly love without losing yourself. Emotional detachment isn't about shutting off your feelings, it's about making sure they don't run your life. It's the ability to love someone while keeping your center of gravity inside yourself. Too often, love turns into a full surrender of identity, where their moods become your moods and their approval becomes your oxygen. But real emotional independence means your peace isn't up for negotiation. Many women mistake detachment for indifference, but it's actually the opposite. It allows you to show up with your whole heart, without the fear of losing it if things don't work out. Imagine holding a butterfly in your hand. If you squeeze it out of fear, it will fly away. You kill it. But if you hold it gently, you both get to enjoy its beauty while it's there. Love works the same way. One way to practice detachment is to keep a life outside the relationship that lights you up. That could be your work, your art, your friendships, your personal goals. If your entire emotional world revolves around one person, you're not in a relationship, you're in an emotional monopoly. And monopolies aren't healthy. Having multiple sources of joy keeps you balanced and whole. Emotional detachment also means not taking everything personally. If your partner is having a bad day, it doesn't automatically mean you did something wrong. It's about knowing where their emotional world ends and yours begins. This is a form of emotional boundaries in action. It's the invisible line that protects your peace without shutting them out. There's power in not reacting to every emotional trigger. When you pause before you respond, you create space for clarity. Instead of sending that text in the heat of frustration, you give yourself time to ask, what's really going on here? Is this about them, or is this about me? That pause is where inner strength grows, and where relationships avoid unnecessary damage. Some of the healthiest relationships are built by two people who are complete on their own, but choose to walk together. They're not clinging for survival, they're sharing the journey. Detachment lets you enjoy love for what it is, not for what you need it to fix inside you. That's what makes love peaceful, rather than exhausting. And once you master loving without losing yourself, you discover something unexpected. Heartbreak can't destroy you anymore. In fact, it can even become the fuel for something greater. Pain changes you, but it doesn't have to break you. Every heartbreak holds a lesson, but only if you're willing to look for it. The goal isn't to pretend it didn't hurt, it's to turn that hurt into the very thing that makes you stronger. Think of steel, it's forged in fire, shaped under pressure. Without the heat, it would never become unbreakable. The same is true for emotional strength. Turning pain into power starts with refusing to let it define your future. If someone betrayed your trust, the lesson isn't never trust again, it's trust wisely. If someone undervalued you, the lesson isn't I'm unworthy, it's I will no longer accept less than I deserved. When you reframe the meaning of what happened, you reclaim control over the story. Resilience grows in the small steps you take after the fall. Maybe it's deciding to focus on healing before dating again. Maybe it's starting therapy, journaling your progress, or learning new communication skills. These actions become the bridge between who you were in the pain and who you're becoming through the healing. Every step builds self-love and inner strength. One of the most powerful shifts is realizing that your past doesn't have the right to dictate your joy. You can wake up tomorrow and decide to create new experiences that have nothing to do with old wounds. Sign up for that class you've been curious about. Travel to a place you've never been. Surround yourself with people who see your light, not just your scars. This is how you actively break the cycle. There's also a quiet kind of healing that happens when you stop trying to prove your worth to the person who hurt you. The real victory isn't showing them you've moved on. It's living a life so full and protected that they're no longer a reference point. That's when the wound becomes wisdom, and wisdom is something no one can take away. Becoming unbreakable doesn't mean you'll never feel pain again. It means pain no longer has the power to define you. You'll still love, still care, still be open, but with the kind of emotional safety that comes from knowing you can handle whatever comes. That's real protection. And when you stand in that kind of strength, something shifts forever. Love stops feeling like a gamble and starts feeling like a choice you make from a place of power, not fear. Now it's your turn to take these truths and put them into action. Which one will you start with today to protect your heart and build the love you deserve? Remember, healing isn't just about moving on, it's about moving forward stronger. If this spoke to you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so we can keep walking this path to emotional freedom together.